When you go through the training then, if you're an athlete, you see Bull talks about this all the while.
Tired of the war. Tired of
Well,
training.
yeah, but I say, you know, get the family.
Not always. The theory
Always, not
says
always. But remember, you know.
there's another love that
Yes.
don't have the war.
Yeah, but some people
Love the war.
journey, in some sense, but some people journey a little bit different from others. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so,
How many
look,
loves
you know,
have you had in
one
life?
second.
This is my first in-person conversation on the channel, and also my first male guest. So,
That's interesting.
you want to introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Yasus, Afari.
All right.
Should I say more?
What is?
Such as?
My daughter is from the couch saying yes, he should say more. So this is my daughter's dad. He's been mentioned in previous episodes. So yeah, this is Yasus. All right, so in today's episode, I wanted to touch on a little bit on spirituality. And because Yasus Afari is an ambassador for Rastafari here in Jamaica and worldwide, I would say as well, I thought he was fitting to start a conversation about this particular topic on the channel of spirituality. So I kind of just want to start with you explaining your spiritual journey.
Okay, well, firstly, we recognize Rastafari as a liberty of spirituality. And spirituality speaks to that network which connects us to each other, to our source, and to the universe, omniverse, or the multiverse, or the anyverse, as I would say. Not necessarily a religion, because religion is a unified system of beliefs and practices which form a single moral group known as a church or whatever else. And so Rastafari is not just a liberty of spirituality, but it's an experiential liberty of spirituality.
This spiritual journey, your daughter?
What you say?
Not this spiritual journey, your spiritual journey.
So my spiritual journey really, like all of us, it started, at the Sunday school, in the church school. So we were influenced by Christian principles and the Bible until pretty much maybe in the late teens, the early 20s, we embraced the faith of Rastafari.
How did that come about?
It's a good question. I think it started by, we start burn herb and look more.
That was the start, yes sir?
Not really, but it started with the church, as I said. And so you start departing from that strict churchical orientation. And so we get a little bit more indigenous. And so I think ganja played a role, I would think. Reasoning with brethren. And then when I was at college now at CAST, I got a vision one night. Like me part me here, I used to be Afro. Like me part me here and me see some locks. I didn't know if you explained that. It's almost like that just became the reality without even thinking about it. I started to reassert your identity as African people, and obviously the influence of His Imperial Majesty would have had an impact as well.
Okay. So this is late teens in college?
No,
This
in
is
college
when-
was very early 20s.
Sorry, right.
Late teens was
high
telephone
school.
company.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. All right, so it started early 20s then. Right. So, I kind of want to make a link between everyone's spiritual journey or spiritual experience and the way this may impact their relationships with people, whether this is romantically or as a parent or as a friend. So, I mean, off the top of your head, do you remember any type of switch in dynamics with relationships? I guess, for instance, with your parents, or well, I don't think your dad was alive at the time, your mom, your siblings, if you had a girlfriend at the time. Tell me about your experience with that, with the sighting of Rastafari, and how this may have impacted your relationships in your life at the time.
Well, yes, certainly with your mother. With my mother in that case, my father has deceased by then. My mother has a Christian orientation, so that there was kind of tension between the Rastafari perspective and the Christian perspective. And as a result of the disappointment,
Why was it disappointment, do you think?
because your mother would have expected you to be a little bit more conservative, go look at job and Christian faith, that this Africa Haile Selassie seemingly rebellious kind of situation. So that was the situation among siblings, not quite dissimilar, maybe less so than your mom, but essentially they were cheerleading with your mother as well too.
Okay.
Then
Were all of them Christians? Or?
No, not Christian, but again, societal expectations and orientation. One was a police, one was a teacher, so you can understand. And there were others which share similar worldview and societal expectations and norms. And some girlfriend was not a difference at the time, then famously in Poetry Canyon, Twiggy.
Twiggy.
Twiggy left me
Yeah.
because you turn Croft, very promising young man, and they were looking forward to the regular expectations. And then here come Rastafari now, there's rattle the whole ship and things. So, and then you, in her case, you would have suffered from influences from mother, siblings, co-workers, past students from the same school. It's almost like, wow, things start fall apart because this is so contrary, and you've got to wrap your mind around it. And when you're just a come as Rastafari too, you maybe could be a little bit more patient and tolerant. I was a bit patient and tolerant, but still at the same time a little bit raw around the edges, so we not take no holy batalk. Them kind of way.
I was going to ask if this kind of resistance from the people around you, if it fueled you, or if it's, I get the impression that it fueled you even more to stand up in it. But you can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah, you're very perceptive, of course. That's it. Fuel. To overdrive.
That's the impression I'm getting.
We now retreat, we now surrender, we now no turning back. Just you. I remember at the time, maybe even until now, Mr. Man love reasoning, and it's almost like mental exercise to defend your position. So when people challenge you, you know what I mean, it kind of make you have to come forward. Not that there was a debate or anything, but you know how it is. Jamaica people are very politically correct, Because if you're maga, you're twiggy. If you're fat, you're fatty. And if you have one eye, you're one eye. If you have 1 foot, you're one eye. So people are going to tell you how them think, how them feel. Sometimes they don't want to insult you, but when we talk it around the corner, they come right back to you. So you have to kind of defend yourself. Remember like an instance like a brethren who used to school with me. Them call him Pui, Kirk Dunkley. So I was in Vineyard at the time and him come look for me. I see him look, I question me, like him search me, he want to find out something. I said to him, yo, I said, them saying you come. He laugh and say, what do you mean? I said, no, your friend there from school said if you come check me out, man. And him laugh and say, oh, you know that? I said, then I hear you, man. I said, true. But then you mad, they mad. So obviously, them did a one day, I got mad, I get mad.
So, when there were one day that if you were
Getting off the rockers. Yeah.
Where were you at this time? Was it your appearance? Was it what you were talking? Was it just give me a description of what you think their experience of you was at that time.
There's I guess a combination still because don't forget when I go to school, you come across now as a youth kind of almost soulful, neat. With the Rasta thing coming now, you're still neat, but you can compare well patted afro with locks and them time they have done some big head spliff and your eye them a bleed. You know them way you're talking a bit different car you talk. You
talk different right now. It's intense.
Yeah. Right. When you are different Rastafari, Afrocentricity, we actually redefine the context of God and your relationship with God and so on. It come, to be honest with you, I know it must come across a little bit bizarre and unusual. So, we weren't too critical of the brethren them. That's why we raised with them still. We show them what we are defending. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So how do you think this has impacted your romantic relationships since Twiggy? Because we've heard a million times so it has impacted your relationship with Twiggy. Well, I've heard because I go to his shows and he speaks about it regularly in a public space. But since then, how do you think it has impacted? Have you sought out people who have the same beliefs as you? Do you think that was the root? I mean, we were together for some time. I don't have the same beliefs. What is the comparison? How do you think, it's impacted how you show up in relationships or what you choose?
Yes, so much so we describe it as an Afro-romantic relationship. So certainly that speaks to from an African perspective than a Roman, Western world kind of perception and relationships. And so, from the Rastaman perspective, you take a woman and you say, call her a wife. So your whole idea to societal expectation changes a bit. But somehow it has impacted, yes, because, and then me not necessarily seek out. I think relationship really evolve from an affair of the heart. So it's not like you're consciously think, say, I'm going to look at a Rasta woman. I mean, maybe inside there's a desire for that. But I think the overriding desire is a woman who you feel magnetized to, that appeal to your emotion, to your visuals, to your perception and expectation. That's how it impacts your heart. And so in your case, since you go there, I mean, it was like energy at first sight, you know what I mean? So it's how the person come across to you is almost like an intuitive, spiritual, emotional, physical, all the above, how the energy impact you. And so I think love and admiration and attraction is a basis upon which you can navigate variables and differences. So, but yes, the Rastafari worldview has always influenced and impacted, sometimes positively, quite often negatively, relationships, even Afro-romantic ones. Wouldn't you say?
I would say, I feel like you're speaking very abstract and general, and that's why I'm just here for nothing. It's just doing very Yasus like, but you take one, I can't take one.
No, but I mean, come on, so let's deal with it more direct then.
Why is this speaking
Well, it speaks for itself still, you know where it go? Let us look at you then. And your foreground, your background. Right. So your perception, worldview, relationship wise in terms of a romantic relationship, that was not informed and inspired by what is compatible with Rastafari. Would you agree? So it was a different type of, even though you're kind of radical in your thinking and your outlook certain way, but nevertheless you belong to a family and a circle of friends and influences. So therefore, it must affect you, which must affect me in turn. And similarly, mine would affect me and affect you. So, I mean, if we could use this for support people, just that makes, the affairs of the heart is really personal. The other things are objective. And so we think that we should incubate our relationships until they are consolidated and strong enough. Relationships really go in 3 phases. You're going to call it the honeymoon phase, and then there's a phase of challenge. Who override the challenge with the benefit of a successful relationship? If you give up and you get weary and you don't reach the success, then you don't have the success. Some other says, my what? No?
Alright, wrap it up. You gotta get wrap it up.
That is it. So you don't want to express yourself?
Yes, your expression is very detailed.
Eh?
Your expression is very
Too
detailed.
detailed.
But also not. It's abstract.
Tangential, it's a bit abstract.
Yes, it's detailed and abstract, which is so odd. It's the most odd thing. Okay, so in my last episode on my channel, I spoke about the 3 loves theory. I don't know if you know about it. I'm gonna broach it with you and see what you think. So, in the 3 loves theory, they're proposing that you fall in love 3 times in your life.
You know what?
You fall in love 3 times in your life.
Oh. How much are your eyes? Okay.
Can you stay on? Just focus, please. Well, whatever you want to call it, but you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So, they're proposing that you fall in love 3 times in your life. The first is just your first love. It's normally like, it's your introduction to love. It's very sweet. People think kind of like fairy tale light. They think it's going to last forever. Normally it doesn't really. Some people are lucky, but normally it doesn't. Then there's the second love, which is what they call the intense love. Very challenging. It involves a lot of compromise, a lot of trying to stick it out, a lot of fighting for it. And then there's the third love that they call the unconditional love, which is what people are kind of waiting for to settle into, which is much more peaceful. And after you've learned everything, I guess much easier. It flows better. Yeah? So that's the theory. And in my last episode, I went through the loves of my life. So I spoke about you. Do you know what position you're in?
Tell me. Tell me what position or positions.
You were in one position in the 1, 2, 3, and you were number 2, I think, which was the intense love. And so when you're talking about what you call success, it came back to me because you're talking about what you call success in a relationship where you reach your challenges and then you fight through it and fight through it, and that's what you think success is. And I was actually speaking about our relationship in that episode, saying how we just reached a point where we just couldn't fight no more. It might just be a difference in our personalities. You see how you get fueled by the resistance? Sometimes it just gets to a point where the resistance is too much. So I felt like a lot in our relationship. I don't think you had that experience, but our experiences were very different. So I felt like I always had to be standing up for a relationship to the public, being like fighting for what we have and being like, yeah man, you better take it seriously because this is the person I'm in love with, and kind of, it's like a constant. You understand? Where I don't know if you got that.
Not really.
Yeah.
There was maybe some small elements, almost insignificant, but people were more supportive because they seemed to have perceived how I felt about you, and especially with the advent of Micaiah again, and sense that I wanted it to work and was thinking that it would have worked for the long term.
Okay.
Nevertheless, what we find interesting now is the comparison of the 3 rising in love, falling in love concept, and then the 3 phases. I would think that for who's still on that journey and that quest would be to integrate, harmonize, and rationalize.
All three into one, or into every relationship. I think that's where I was. That's why I brought it up, because I figured that's what your view would be. That it probably involves all three. That you can have your number three in whatever relationship you're in. If you see what I'm saying, you can reach that point.
Yes, and you know, I didn't listen. I don't think I listened that one. You know, so
I thought you didn't watch my channel.
Yeah, I watched it from time to time.
Oh,
can I be honest? As I always try to be.
Please be honest.
And sometimes some aspect of it.
Oh, do not use that word.
So we won't use that word, but sometimes we find it a little bit
uncomfortable.
Yes.
And that's the point.
And then yes, I accept that. But then again, at the point, while accepting that point, is that
can you stop looking at me?
I'm kind of a introvert in some sense.
I'm also
a kind
an
of
introvert.
Private person in another sense.
You're more private, yes.
And you see, you remember earlier how I referenced the idea of incubating?
I heard you.
You heard loud and clear?
I heard it loud and clear. That's not dropping words from me from my
go deep into the one day.
Really?
Yes.
So go deep.
Go deep?
Go deep.
All right.
You see,
when you have a relationship where you care about, it's almost like when you are pregnant. Not necessarily you, anyone who is pregnant with a child or any concept or any situation. If you notice now, even by nature, you know, rub up and don't go tell everybody when you just get pregnant. When you miss that for a cycling sort of situation, you maybe tell it to your significant other, or maybe a close best friend or whatever, we can confide in. But you kind of incubate that, you kind of nurture that, you kind of keep that. Especially, not maybe in the contemporary sense, but in the traditional sense, even when a child is born, they come out of the house, they must be 9 or 11 days, for example. You didn't know that.
And my child.
No, when you must say you're postmodern.
Oh.
Woman, you know. So in the traditional sense now, you know, and then you wouldn't just.
We're not going for a while, yeah.
And you wouldn't make anybody come touch your behavior or even. So in a sense, if you're developing and incubating an idea, let us say a business idea, before you even register the trademark, for example. Or before you get a business plan together, you know, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, when you're ready for your business, it's gone. So in a similar sense, if you have a relationship now, it kind of good to kind of strengthen it, water it, nurture it.
Okay.
Keep it out of the eye like when you develop a photo in the original dark room.
Understood.
Yeah. And then now, when it come out to the day of light, it have a certain resistance, resilience. And it is by then consolidated. So in your case, no.
Yeah, man, bring it back around. I don't know which part you got.
But it's right there. In that sense, now it could have it has its own inbuilt robustness, resistance. We can stand up to everything. So therefore, like a water upon the back of a fowl, it run off. So when we integrate the tree, the tree and the tree, you know what I mean? So if we want to integrate any of the tree into the other tree, any one of the tree into any other, then it means therefore that, you know what I mean, when you have that blissful stage, there is a nurturing stage, the mushy stage, obviously that serves a purpose as well. And so when you go to the testing phase and you draw from that mushy, because we want the mushy then, we want the rush then, we want the high then. And then therefore, hopefully you would have wanted to cherish that energy and that vibration. So when you go to the mushy stage, and then you would have incubated and developed a certain resistance, so you can withstand the wiles of the devil and come to the Christian devil. Because some of them are devil too, you know. Some have good intentions and good wishes still. You know what I mean? Like in the case of not wanting to be disappointed, you know, one old crop for your daughter, for your son. So therefore you would want to protect them, you know, and somebody who's worthy and who's responsible and who not necessarily be a para upon the social construct, at least from a personal perspective. And so therefore when you go to the other third stage now, whereby that success is boy, we weather the storm, high five. And then now, it's almost like you have to cherish and value, because the more you're sweating at the training, the less you're bleeding at the war. And so,
why am I have to bleed though? Why am I have to at the war? You understand what I'm saying?
No, well, in the metaphor. when you go through the training then, if you're an athlete, you see Bull talks about this all the while.
Tired of the war. Tired of training.
Yeah, but I say, you know, get the family.
Not always. The theory says.
Not always. But remember, you know.
There's another love that don't have the war.
Yeah, but some people
love the war.
Journey, in some sense, but some people journey a little bit different from others. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so,
how many loves have you had in your life?
1 second. So me I look upon that tree something there, and I think he may be right.
Yeah. But
I will research my own journey. Even when you are saying that's no way, when you ask them some rocks, there's something about that which you need to prevail again. So sometimes when people journey, you know, them try to reinvigorate, renew, because sometimes there's a jungle out there, you know what I mean? And sometimes people seek the new, but then there's a solace in the familiar. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then sometime again too, some people look at it, you get an opportunity to give yourself a second chance and to apply the lessons learned to your current circumstances, be with the same person and in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, still, you know, these are my personal testimony, you know. If you get the things right, you know, and the relationship right, it won't be perfect, you know, but it's a blissful experience still, you know, which energizes you spiritually, mentally, economically, socially. It's like a form of prosperity. Find a balance there, the harmony there, life become, and this is a personal experience. We all have some experience and exposure to this, I would think. I mean, if you are, for example, you said a mushy, blissful phase there, can you imagine if we were so blessed, whoever, if we add permanence to that? I mean, it wouldn't be necessarily mushy, blissful every single day of the year and the week and the month. But generally speaking, it's more general, then your life would be enriched. You there's less stress, less burn. You devote your energy and your individual and collective resource to fulfilling the purpose and the objective and to getting the family stronger and looking after the children and have a better psychological and physiological and spiritual and social state of mind. If anyone out there, you know, learn something from this and to enrich your own life, whether now, past, present, or future, pass it on to someone else. That's what it is all about, really, because at the end of the day, we are all in this thing together. And we are seeking happiness and joy and comfort, you know what I mean? And again, to the incubation, sometimes it's good to keep a joy in a secret place that the rat and the cockroach and the vampires and the spider can come contaminate and dilute and undermine and...
Right, but sometimes when you bolster up your joy and your joy is now elevated above the rat and the cockroach and the something them, it's good and the air is crisp up top.
Victory! I also find.
So,
touch
you
this.
Know. All right, well, we're gonna wrap it here. Maybe we can invite you back. I'm not sure.
If it's fit.
Whatever. Invite you forward to discuss in detail other things that I'd love to discuss. Which
confess, look, I'm your confess too. Maybe it's not as bad as we would have feared.
What, the conversation? What do you mean to confess? You were in fear and you thought this was going to be horrible.
But you don't say that word in our views.
The word is cringe. He thinks my content is cringe and uncomfortable. And you know, I'm okay with that because
that's not true.
I want to have uncomfortable conversations. That's what this platform is about. So, to talk about things that people aren't willing to speak about. So
can I speak for myself?
No, because we have to wrap it up.
Really? That's interesting. May insist that I speak for myself. Not your content necessarily.
Because getting nervous.
You have beautiful content. However, elements of it and sometimes and some questions. And that might be a part of my own peculiarity.
Right. And that's just who I am. So, All right. Thanks for
Afari,
coming.
bless it and set it. You're
Yes.
welcome. Give
And-
thanks.
all right. See?